Hello, welcome back to another episode of The Towel Boy, where we give you the cleanest takes in sports. Today is just going to be kind of a fun me talking, an episode talking about the upcoming college football season, which, crazy enough, it is almost August. I can't believe that, which means we're not quite yet, but in a couple of days we'll be in a month where there is football games. There's college football games, NFL preseason, but I'm talking about college football today. And we're going to talk about some players that I'm excited to watch this season. Now, disclaimer, whatever you want to say, this is not a analytic episode. This is not an NFL draft for me scouting, telling you what I think of the pro potential for these guys. This is me talking about players that I personally, as a fan, am excited to watch this upcoming college football season. A lot of these guys are already hyped and already known. I'm not trying to do a sleepers episode. I'm not trying to do anything. This is purely me just talking ball. I just want to talk about who I want to see and who I'm excited to watch play because it's been a while since I've gotten to see some football. I know that we were all itching for football season to start. Um, so again, these are just players that I personally am excited to watch. We're going to be talking pretty much exclusively offensive players because uh, while I do recognize the importance of defense, offense is where the more entertaining players are for the most part. So we're going to start out at quarterback. First guy I'm going to mention is, of course, Arch Manning. Going into the season, again, a Heisman preseason Heisman contender. Going to be this is his redshirt junior season at Texas, and I think this is really his prove it season. Last year, there were some ugly things at the beginning of the year, but I really do think that he started to figure it out towards the end of the year. Thought we saw a lot more of the things that make him a potential number one pick. I don't think there anymore, but probably a first round pick potential for sure. He's got three real weapons with Ryan Wingo, Khalil Lockett, Cam Coleman, a pretty good running game. So I think this is the season for Arch Manning to really prove it, and I'm excited to watch him do it. I personally, if I had to bet right now, I would guess that he is one of the better quarterbacks in the college football season, and is going to work his way into a first round contention with his play. I think that Texas uh, is going to surround Arch better than it did last year, and that he's going to be more successful, um, throwing throwing the football, running the football as well. So Arch Manning is the first guy I'm talking about. The second guy might be who I'm the quarterback, at least I am most excited to watch, and unfortunately I have such a trouble pronouncing his name. He's known more so as JKS because of how tough his name is to say, but he's going to be the true sophomore at Cal, Jaren Kiave Sagapulutele, as I'm pretty sure is how you say it. JKS is what I'm going to say, but going to be a true sophomore, left-handed quarterback. I think he might be the best pure passer in the country. At least going off of highlights and stuff when you turn on like his best throws, the Pac-12 after dark, even though not Pac-12, but some of the things that he can do with the football throwing is ridiculous, right? And last year, Cal did not have very good weapons. They'll have better weapons this year. Last year, he had about 3,400 yards, 18 touchdowns, and he can just sling it. He can put the ball on a rope, put it in the breadbasket wherever his receiver needs to get it. Cal surrounded him with more weapons, and right now, I don't even think it's close. And I can't say that nothing will happen that'll change this, but he is to me going to be the front runner for the 2028 number one overall pick in the NFL draft. I think he is an exceptional quarterback. I'm glad that he stayed at Cal because with the transfer portal, I thought he was going to go enter it because he is so good and some big name was going to poach him. But staying at Cal, it's going to be really fun to see how JKS progresses, I think, this year and see how he can improve to become one of the elite players and a household name. I think he's going to break onto the scene. I think if you follow college football, you kind of know of JKS at least a little bit, but I think he's going to become a true household name this year. Jaren Kiave Sagapulutele. I'm pretty sure is how you say the last name. And again, forgive me if I am mispronouncing that a little bit, but uh, so excited to watch him at Cal this year. The next guy, um, I'm excited, but also kind of hate watching this year. Um, if you know me, you know that I am a huge TCU fan. So the next guy I'm talking about is Josh Hoover. Now Indiana's quarterback, transfer from TCU. So, I love Hoover. I loved Hoover. I still do. But he's a true gunslinger, and he is the guy that was handpicked by Curt Cignetti to replace last year's number one overall pick, Fernando Mendoza. Uh, Hoover was a Heisman candidate for about half of the season last year until TCU kind of stumbled a little bit midway through the year. Uh, and I think that Josh Hoover is a better quarterback, or at least more better. Yeah, I will say a better college quarterback than Curtis Rourke, who Kirk Cignetti turned into a NFL draft pick, and Fernando Mendoza. Now, I think Fernando Mendoza was a better NFL prospect, but I think Hoover was a better a college quarterback before coming into Indiana. I think that Hoover is going to be a Heisman contender all year. Curt Cignetti has turned Indiana into, dare I say, Indiana national powerhouse. Uh, and I think Hoover's going to come in with that gunslinger mentality, but with the coaching of Curt Cignetti, I think he's going to be a crazy, fantastic combination. Really good duo there. Hoover, his biggest thing is turnovers, and he's thrown a lot of picks the last 2 years. I still expect him to make some of those, but he's got good weapons. That we'll talk about later, and I think that he will cut down on those turnovers a little bit to be what Indiana needs to try to repeat as national champions. Last year, I just think Hoover fits Indiana so well. Last year, Fernando Mendoza, I think, had the highest rate of RPO play calls in the entire country. And guess who was number two in the entire country? Josh Hoover at TCU. So he knows how to throw the RPO, make those reads, and I think that he's going to just fit the more he's worked with Indiana system. Last year, Mendoza had 3,500 yards, about 41 touchdowns, I believe. And I think Hoover's going to put up similar stats to that. I think that statistically, Hoover can have a better season than Mendoza. I think that Hoover's gunslinger mentality, I've said that a lot, it can lead to better statistics than Mendoza. And of course, I'm just comparing Mendoza to Hoover, not because I think they're the same quarterback or all of that, but because Mendoza was Indiana's quarterback last year, number one overall pick. Hoover is replacing him. I think Hoover's going to be awesome. Like I said, I'm wishing him success and failure at the same time, just because I wish he was still a Horned Frog. I'm going to be completely honest with you. But Josh Hoover, I think, is going to be fantastic. And I think those three guys that I've said so far um, are probably going to be the Heisman. Are If I had to choose my four Heisman finalists, I think those three, right now at the top of my head, might be the three that I choose right away. I think Arch Manning could be. He's the one I'm least secure about. Heisman candidate, especially because Texas will be good. JKS, I think he's going to put up numbers. I think Hoover's going to put up numbers, and Indiana's going to be good. So then, of course, you had like the Julian Sayin, Darian Minsa. I'm not as high on, those guys. But we're not talking about them because I'm not as excited to watch those guys play as I am so far. Manning, JKS, and Hoover. The last quarterback we're going to talk about, he is maybe a little bit more underrated, but I'm talking about Brad Jackson at Texas State. One of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the country. He's going to be, I believe, a redshirt sophomore, but his second season starting nonetheless. Last year, he threw for 3,200 yards, excuse me, and rushed for 744 yards with 17 rushing touchdowns. Truly one of the most exciting dual threat quarterbacks in the nation. I'm excited to see West Coast boy. Pac-12 is back, even though it's not the same. Texas State somehow is a part of the Pac-12. I think Texas State could challenge for a Pac-12 championship, and with that, who knows, can compete for a college football playoff berth. And Brad Jackson is going to be at the heart of that if that is a possibility. So Brad Jackson out of Texas State is the last quarterback that we're going to be talking about today of the people that I'm excited to watch. Those are four of the QBs. Not the only quarterbacks, of course, I'm excited to watch, but four of them that I am excited to watch. Running backs, we have, I believe, four that we're going to talk about again today. First off, the best running back prospect in the entire country. I think he's been the best running back in the nation for the last 2 years, especially last year. Ahmad Hardy is going to be a junior for Missouri. In 2 years in college football, he has 3,000 total rushing yards and 29 touchdowns. He is an unstoppable beast. Last year against, I think it was Mississippi State, he had a game of 300 yards. He had another game of like 250 yards, I think, against Louisiana. Not much of a pass catcher, but who cares? He is such a good runner of the ball, such a great running back. He's one of those guys where like you have to just watch him. I couldn't care less about Missouri. I won't lie to you. But if Missouri is on at a noon time or whatever, and nothing else, I'm gonna have them on at least my quad box because I want to see what Ahmad Hardy is doing. He's one of those players. So he is absolutely the running back I am most excited to watch. The next guy, I could have mentioned his quarterback too, but Caleb Hawkins, the sophomore at Oklahoma State now, was last year was with the North Texas Mean Green, transferred over with his coaching staff and pretty much half of North Texas roster. But as a true freshman last year, he had 1,400 yards and 25 rushing touchdowns, which is a ridiculous number. So I am very excited to see how Caleb Hawkins transitions into Power 5 at the Big 12 conference with Oklahoma State. Drew Messemaker is going to be the quarterback, come over with their coaches. Should be a fun offense, hopefully. I think it will carry over offensively from North Texas to Oklahoma State. So I am really excited to see how Caleb Hawkins transitions from the American Conference to the Big 12. The next guy I'm talking about also has TCU ties. Surprise. Cam Cook started his first 2 years of college football at TCU. Last year, transferred to Jacksonville State. Um, and led the nation in rushing yards. Not his conference, not he led the nation in rushing yards with over 1,600 yards, 16 touchdowns as well. Transferred this year to West Virginia. So I'm excited to see him back into the Big 12, back into the Power 5, um, and just see can he bounce back to a transition up. We've seen that a couple times, people transferring down, transferring back up. See how that goes with Cam Cook. See if he can be, again, amongst the most prolific rushers in college football. Last guy I'm going to talk about, go Frogs, one more time. Jeremy Payne, I think, is going to be really exciting to watch for TCU. He's going to be a junior. Finally has a chance to be RB1. If you TCU fans know, whenever Jeremy Payne gets the ball, there's a chance for an explosive play to happen. And it's been that way for his whole career, but he hasn't had a chance to be the main guy. This year, he's going to be the main guy or have a chance to be the main guy. The last 5 games of the season for the Horned Frogs, Payne averaged 6.6 yards per carry. And the last 3 games of the season were really like, oh, wow, this could be a special running back. He had 18 carries for 103 yards against Houston, 174 yards and 2 touchdowns against Cincinnati. And then against USC in the bowl game, 13 carries, 73 yards, 50 receiving yards, and of course the walk-off touchdown against the Trojans that Frog fans and honestly college football, that was one of the most exciting bowl games of all of last year. You'll remember that touchdown. So Jeremy Payne is another running back I'm excited to see get a chance to be the dude for his team. And then moving on to receiver, I think there are tons of receivers I'm excited to watch. Of course, the big names, Jeremiah Smith. Of course, I'm excited to watch him, but I'm not going to talk too much about him because we all know that he's going to be pretty awesome, right? I'm excited to watch Indiana's duo. We talked about their quarterback, Josh Hoover. Charlie Becker became a little bit of a safety blanket last year, for Mendoza and their run towards the end of the year. So Charlie Becker's going to be still there. And then Nick Marsh, transfer from Michigan State. I am so excited to watch him play for Indiana and with Josh Hoover. He's about 6'3", 215 pounds. He's had 600 yards 2 times in his career. I mean, both seasons of his career. He's going to be a junior. And I think he's a stud. I think he's going to give a lot of size and physicality for that receiving room. I'm excited to see that what he can do. So I think these 2 receivers are going to be really fun to watch with Hoover in Indiana's office, Charlie Becker and Nick Marsh. Next guy I want to talk about, a huge star last year, cover of the NCAA football game, Malachi Tony for Miami. So he might be my favorite player in all of college football. Last year he reclassified to play last year as a true freshman. So this should be his true freshman year. And this is kind of one of those things, like, he just has the it factor. He's a dog, right? without knowing any analytics or advanced stats, you can turn on a Miami game and you can watch Malachi Tony and be like, that dude's a freaking killer out there. Last year, he had 1,200 yards receiving, 10 touchdowns, played a little wildcat quarterback, returned some kicks. This year, Darian Mensah, transfer in from Duke, coming to Miami. Mensah, I believe, was number 2 in all of college football last year in passing yards. Miami added some more weapons. There shouldn't be as much responsibility on Tony's shoulders, which I think you could look at it two ways. Either one, that's going to hurt his statistics, or number two, defenses can't just be like, stop Tony, and then we're good. So it might open up the door a little bit more for some explosive plays. I love watching Malachi Tony play. The thing that I like most about him, underrated, and I have no statistics about this, but when I watch him, he blocks his ass off. For a little guy, he's going to go out there, he's going to hit you as hard as he can every play to make sure that the team has the most successful play as possible. Whether it's a 2-yard screen, he's blocking for somebody else, he's going to go get it there. He's not afraid to go hit a lineman, and I love that about him. I love watching him play. And those plays get me more excited than his explosive plays sometimes, honestly. I love Malachi Tony out of Miami. And then I'm going to talk about another true sophomore as my other receiver, DeCorian Moore out of Oregon. I'm excited to watch him play. Very hyped up receiver out of Duncanville, Texas. Number 1 wide receiver in his class coming out of high school. Was banged up for a lot of last year. Still ended up with almost 500 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think another offseason working with Dante Moore. I think the more times more connection could be really fun. So I'm just excited to see how such a highly talented 5-star recruit, hopefully is fully healthy, can quote unquote, bounce back and have a prolific year. In Eugene, Dan Lanning, I think it's going to be exciting stuff. The next guy might be the guy I'm most excited to talk about or to watch this year. I mentioned him briefly earlier when talking about Arch Manning, but Cam Coleman, transfer from Auburn, going to be a junior this year at Texas. In 2 years at Auburn, he's had horrible coaching or game planning on the offensive side of the ball. Not very good quarterbacks throwing him the ball. He still managed to collect 1,300 yards, 13 touchdowns over his 2 years at Auburn. And I think he is a stud. I love Cam Coleman. And I have been on record saying that he is as good as Jeremiah Smith. I said that's their true freshman year. I said that at times last year. That I think Cam Coleman as a talent is comparative. What's the word? Yeah. You can compare him to Jeremiah Smith, who is the favorite to be the Biletnikoff winner. Is everybody's, since he's a true freshman, everyone has said that Jeremiah Smith, generational receiver, blah, 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 right? Now, I'm going to acknowledge I am probably silly for saying Cam Coleman is as good as Jeremiah Smith. I am probably wrong, and I don't know if he's going to be as productive as Jeremiah Smith. But because I'm a guy who stands on what I say, I'm going to back up to say that I think Cam Coleman is a comparative talent to Jeremiah Smith. Having a true quarterback, a true offensive system at Texas this year, I am stoked to see how Cam Coleman can produce at a higher level. Big body receiver who I think can improve as a route runner, but he can make insane plays, can make the spectacular catch. Cam Coleman out of Texas. I hate to say that I'm excited to watch a Texas player because as a TCU fan, living in Texas, not the biggest Longhorns fan, but I think Cam Coleman is going to be exciting. I think Arch Manning and them are going to be very exciting to watch. Another guy similar to Malachi Tony that I'm excited to watch is Mario Craver, the junior out of Texas A&M. Another smaller receiver, kind of like Malachi Tony, 5'9", I think about 170 pounds. They had him listed at 165, but probably a little bigger than that. But he is just a bulldog, man. He had about over 900 yards last year. Just a big play waiting to happen. He can make plays, and he is, just like Tony, a super tough dude. So I'm excited to watch him play. Casey Concepcion is gone. Marcel Reed is still there. See what A&M can do with Craver as one of the main options. He's returning again. So excited to watch Mario Craver. And the last guy I'm excited to watch, he's kind of popped up on my radar a little bit more recently when I've just kind of been bored this summer looking at prospects slash returning good players, is KJ Duff out of Rutgers. Going to be a junior. I believe true junior, but might be a redshirt, so forgive me. on that little detail. But 6'6", about 225 pounds, big bodied receiver, had over 1,000 yards last year at Rutgers. And I just think he's an interesting prospect. The size alone makes you excited, right? Not a lot of receivers are that big. And he's pretty athletic. He's got decent speed, decent route running, pretty safe hands. I'm excited to see how can he produce at a level to where maybe he becomes a top draft prospect because of his size, because of his skill set. Let's see what Rutgers can do with KJ Duff, the 6'6" receiver. The Big Ten is a crazy conference, a lot of talent, but I think Duff can be one of the five best receivers. Bold prediction right now. Maybe I'll make another video when I have actual predictions, but bold prediction right now: KJ Duff is going to be a All Big Ten wide receiver for Rutgers. Last player I'm going to talk about is the only defensive player I'm going to talk about. I think right now he would be, if I was an NFL GM, he is my number one overall pick in the draft. Of course, there's going to you need a quarterback, blah blah blah. That's probably what it's going to be. But Dylan Stewart, the edge rusher out of South Carolina, I don't know if I've seen too many prospects or talents like him. 6'5", about 250 pounds, so fast, so twitchy off the edge. He gets me excited to watch South Carolina. Kind of like I talked about, Ahmad Hardy makes me excited to watch Missouri. Dylan Stewart makes me watch South Carolina with excitement. Of course, they have Lenore Sellers, Nick Harbor, those people, but Dylan Stewart is the main attraction for me. Last year, he only had 4.5 sacks, but it doesn't matter. He gets in the backfield, the waiting. Sorry, I got a little tongue tied there. But when you watch the tape, he is so phenomenally talented. He's going to be a true junior. He doesn't turn 21 until September, so he's still extremely young. A lot of time to grow. And if I was an NFL team, I'd be salivating over the chance to try to get Dylan Stewart. I think he's a better prospect than Colin Simmons off the edge. I would take him over Dante Moore, Julian Sayin, unless you are a team that needs a quarterback, whatever. You know what I'm saying. But Dylan Stewart, I think, is the best NFL prospect regardless of positional need in the entire college football landscape. So I'm stoked to watch Dylan Stewart play. And like I said, just kind of me talking, me rambling about players I'm excited to watch. I'm just kind of, and we're in a little bit of a sports lull for me. I'm not the hugest baseball fan, though I probably need to follow it more. World Cup just ended. We're a couple weeks away from football, so I'm just itching for some more football. Talk about quarterbacks. We have players from Texas in the SEC, underrated Pac-12, Brad Jackson, not Bo, Brad Jackson. We got running backs transferring from Jacksonville State, from North Texas, transitioning up. I'm excited to watch some guys coming from to big programs. I'm just so excited to watch. These players are who I am personally excited to watch. Please comment below. Let me know, who are you guys excited to watch? What big name players are you looking forward to watching? Who are some underrated guys that you're excited to watch for this college football season? Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time, have a great day.